which again, they help perpetuate. Instead, they prefer to forget they ever happened. Will this time be any different? Robby Soave is really the world's living expert on this question. He is associated at Reason.com, author of the book Panic Attack, Young Radicals in the Age of Trump, and he joins us today. Robby, when last you were on the commercial break, I said, since you really are, I think of as like an expert on hoaxes like this, I said, if we find out more about the Smollett case, I hope you'll come back, and you have. So my first question is, what about these stats that you often hear about hate crimes? I have them thrown at me all the time. 1 in 5 Americans will die in a hate crime or whatever. They seem very large, these numbers. Are they real?
The short answer is no. If you look very carefully, it's easy to misrepresent them. So there was an increase from 2016 to 2017 in the number of hate crimes. But if you look, that's actually just because more agencies reported data to the federal government.
Right.
So just counting the issue more accurately will make it look like the problem's getting worse, when really there were just fewer people participating in this scheme to count hate crimes the year before. Statistics about anti-Semitic hate incidents that the Anti-Defamation League has talked about. I looked at those. They said there was a 60% increase since Trump was elected. Actually, anti-Semitic violence was way down, and what was up was that one deranged teenager who actually lived in Israel had sent a bunch of bomb threats to Jewish institutions. So that was the entire swing, was just him doing that. I mean, these were small numbers of overall crime, so it's easy to change depending on how you count it and how you tally it. It looks like, oh, it's happening and it's rising, and we can easily point to why that is, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
So what you have is interest groups feeding misleading statistics to the media, but in this specific case, the media don't push back or dig deep. So in other words, if Philip Morris says to me, Marlboros are actually good for your health, I might want to Google it myself. But when these groups when the Southern Poverty Law Center sends fake stats to New York Times, they don't check.
Right, and their stats weren't even scientific. They were just surveys of their own members, who of course are very intimately interested in promoting the idea that there's this surge in kind of hate crimes. And then the media institutions, when you read their stories, they just lead with the headline of this is the figure that the activist group says, and then maybe many paragraphs down, if you're lucky, you get oh, by the way, actually this is comparing apples to oranges because of some change in how the things.
You're one of the only people I know, which is why I love talking to you, in the media, maybe because you're not aligned on either side, who follows up on the hoaxes. No one else seems to. Are there stats kept on this?
It is so hard to tell what percentage of these kinds of things are hoaxes. I've been trying to figure this out for a long time. A lot of times, if we're talking about, for instance, the college bias incidents, where someone does something that maybe might not even be criminal, but it violates the college policy or something racially offensive. Oftentimes they're just not solved. When they are solved, it seems to me, from my looking into it, that a lot of the time it ends up being a hoax. That's just from which ones I see get solved. A lot of times we just have no idea. So I can't say.
But I don't know. Of the cases that have been solved, off the top of your head, what percentage would you say are fraudulent?
It could be as many as every other, probably.
Wow. Okay. So you're talking about a lot of lying. A lot of lying. No surprise.